Alrighty. Hi, everybody. I'm back again. Um, and I have a different setup today. I'm working on it. YouTube is the one that's the problem right now. So I'm going to be trying to experiment with setups. Um, yeah, they're just really, really different. I'm doing what I can. I'm going to look at some other things to try and make things a little more seamless. But for those of you, and also YouTube, you'll notice that I took down a whole bunch of videos. That's because there's no sound on them, so that's kind of a problem. You need to be able to hear what I'm saying. I appreciate anyone who tuned in, was like, wait, there's no sound, I'm gonna go out. I had to figure that out on my own because no one told me. So that's all right. I know now, and I know that if there's no green dots, then there's no sound. As for Twitch, that's its own issue. It's got its own problems. We're all good here. What I will be doing for my YouTube watchers is I'm currently downloading all the Twitch videos and then re-uploading them to YouTube. So there will be more content. I'm going to try and do as many as I can every day. So hopefully it won't be down for too long. But right now I have chapters 1 and 2 up. So if you haven't listened to anything at all, this is a good time because I'm uploading all the stuff again. So you'll have chapters 1 and 2 with sound. Chapters 1 and 2 with sound, I will say. Yeah. Different setup. I had totally different setups for the two things. I'm going to look at seeing how to fix things and make things better. We're not there yet. So here we have what I'm doing here. Okay, so for those of you who are just tuning in and have no idea what I'm talking about, basically what I'm doing is I am reading, every day I'm reading a chapter of manuscripts, of a manuscript that my dad wrote back in 1982. I have already published the 1977 version of this, and now I'm curious about what the 1982 version is and how it's different from the 1977 version. Plus, I also want to practice reading so people can hear me, and enunciating, and all that other stuff. So, again, tonight is a very short chapter, which makes me have some concerns because I know that some of the older, it's like what my father used to do was he would start out with a chapter and then he'd flesh out the chapter after he went through the whole entire story. So I'm feeling like that's what might be happening here because tonight we have 3 manuscript pages. So we're gonna see tonight together just how fleshed out it is. Alrighty. So this is currently chapter 14 of The Guardian of the Sword. Alrighty. Roark may have been Roark may have been the best strategist of his time, but Connell was his best pupil. The encounter battle fought against the Hygerians at Drix Ford showed his ability to react in an instant, to force the battle to follow the tactical shape which he forced upon it, and to counter enemy stratagems so promptly it seemed that he anticipated them. Nor was he content with this victory. Knowing that to give the men the rest the day's battle had earned would be to leave Rorik to enter the castle in a foredoomed effort, he began an immediate forced march on the next day. The Hygerian War by Randall of Aventir. The Hygerian cavalry came next, charging over the cobblestones, striking sparks from the cobblestones, determined to ride down the men in the gateway. But the bowmen remained steady, loosing arrows calmly. Then at the last moment, spearmen stepped through to present a glittering line of spear points that seemingly invincible charge. They did not halt it entirely. The light was dim enough that the horses did not see until the last moment that what they were charging against, and many of them impaled themselves. But the effectiveness of the charge was destroyed, for though that front rank of spearmen was broken up and thrown back, the horses in the front were either impaled or attempting to turn aside from the spears, and into this disorganization the warriors stepped, shields up and swords striking. In moments, what remained of the cavalry were retreating. The men of Asbeln were given a rest. Then, for some time, as the Hygerian commanders conferred, Rorik looked around at his men. All of you with bows, see to it that every arrow counts. We shall have to hold this gate a little longer. From above the gate, then someone called down, "Milord, 5 flaming arrows over the forest." "That will be the prince," Rorik called to his men. "Hold fast now, help comes." Yet he found himself wondering just how far in the forest the war host might be. The forest road was not one that would allow great numbers of men to pass swiftly, and it would be some time yet before help could arrive. The Hygerians were coming again, perhaps 500 of them, advancing in grim and purposeful lines across the courtyard. It seemed to Rorik that these were a more disciplined and organized lot than the most Hygerian infantry they had met so far, and he wondered if this bit could be Draxon's doing. They launched their arrows at the black-cloaked ranks, and the barbarians threw their javelins when they came in range. But in the end, it would be the hand-to-hand action with sword and shield that would tell the tale. Rorik and the warriors stood then, and fought. Suddenly, then the Hygerians were retreating, and Rorik had to call his men to prevent them from following, and being scattered enough to be overwhelmed. Baran spoke from Rorik's elbow. "We cannot stand much more, milord. If our prince does not arrive soon, there will be few enough of us here to greet him." Rorik looked at him. "Having looked once more upon my ancestral home, I am resolved that the gates should not be closed against my will while I yet live. Speak to the men, lead out those who would go, but I will not leave Aventir while it is in the hands of the Hygerians." "Too late, my lord, they come again." And it was true. As well as those surging across the courtyard, there were parties moving around the walls as well, intent on removing the Asbelnians above the gate. As their leader moved through the light of one of the torches, Rorik recognized the lean, pinched features contrasted with the plump body. It was Draxon. Then, behind them, the sound of hooves and shouts. Make way! Make way for the horsemen!" Through the intervals in the Asbelnian files they came, long lances lowered, and infantry, sweating and dusty from their long march, came behind them. Rorik turned to Baran. 10 men to follow me!" And without waiting to see his command obeyed, he started for the wall. Dun dun dun! Anyway, yeah, so that was the 3 pages. Yeah. Thank you for joining me. YouTube, I'm so sorry. I'm still sorry. I'll just continue to apologize. But the words, sound, can you hear the sound? Isn't it beautiful? Yes, and there will continue to be that as long as I'm very, very careful and checking. So, what I'll be doing when I go into other future stories is I will endeavor to make sure that I have sound. I'll do a quick sound test before I do the recording or the streaming. So, until next time, I will talk to you all again tomorrow night. Thank you so much for joining me, and I'll be here tomorrow with another chapter. Thank you so much.